I got no bones to pick with you.
Hey guys, welcome to Nate and Greg's World. Today on this episode, we want to take things, to a little bit more of a serious topic, away from all the politics and stuff like that that's going on right now, away from the coronavirus to an extent, really. This is a subject we have covered before, but we feel it's prevalent to, bring it up and keep talking about it from time to time, because there's a lot of people that are afflicted with mental health issues, whether it's actual diagnosed issues or they're just going through a dark time. And right now with this coronavirus and, lockdowns and, people losing jobs and stuff and about a million other things, there are a lot of people going through dark times right now.
Well, that's why I find it funny that you were talking about it not being a political or COVID show.
Yeah.
Because the increase is a lot to do with COVID, and we're going to talk about the political side of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a huge thing. And it is a sensitive subject to deal with. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are going through these issues but don't want to speak up. But we want to look into a few different aspects of this. But if you are going through a difficult time right now, if you are contemplating suicide or you're struggling with mental health issues, we have a bunch of links down below in our description there that will get you in contact with people throughout North America that will be able to help you. All right. And if you keep watching at the bottom of your screen there, you're going to see a couple numbers keep coming up throughout this podcast there. First one's going to be the Canadian Suicide Prevention Services, which can be reached at 833-456-4566. And if you're living down in the States, we have the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255. Please, folks, if you are contemplating suicide, reach out, talk to somebody. You are not alone. Okay. Please share this episode with all your friends. Get them in on this discussion. Let them know that they're not alone. There is a lot of stuff going on out there, but this was kind of brought up, earlier there where Nate and I were discussing what we wanted to talk about on this upcoming episode. And Nate, why don't you tell us where you got this idea from there?
Yeah, no, I think a big reason why, we've talked about this before. We've talked about mental illness quite a bit on our show from episode to episode. I think a lot of it is because with me, my passion lies in the fact that, I've as I've said before, I've had mental illness my entire life, since I was a kid. And I've been in dark places, and, I really struggle with people. This is why I want to talk about this, is really what it comes down to with me. I really hate how a lot of the people involved, not all, but a lot of the people involved in making the rules and making the decisions when it comes to mental health issues have never suffered from it.
Yeah.
They don't get it, right? As a person with depression or a person with anxiety, a true illness, right? Mm-hmm. People aren't able to relate that aren't part of that. So, you'll have a person, people get irritated because, as a depressed person, they'll say, well, we all have sad times in our life. But when you're talking about an illness or talking about you're sad because, you've suffered a loss, you've, a dog died or a family member died, or, you went through a divorce or you lost your job. There's a massive difference between what that sadness is and that depression, that downtime, and actually having a medical issue. Mm-hmm. An imbalance somewhere in you, right? Yeah. And the reason I wanted to bring this up today, talk about it, the big reason is, as people know, in Canada right now, one of the big discussions is medically assisted death.
Right.
Right. So they basically passed and said, yes, people can get their doctor's help to die. What came out over the last couple of weeks is there's a real big argument and discussion in our government right now talking about whether people with mental health issues, mental illness, should be on that list of people that are allowed to have medically assisted suicides. And the predominant, and I mean, the thing that everybody goes to right away is like, well, no, like we can't do that. They're just going through a hard point in their life. You know, they don't actually want to die. They can't think straight. They can't, but there's no real discussion about a person who has been mentally ill for, 30 or 40 years living in this dark torture.
Yeah.
Right. That has tried everything and has decided like, this is my, like, I've done everything I can. I can't handle this anymore. Right. Whether they get a doctor's help or don't get a doctor's help, they've made that decision.
Yeah.
Right. So where does the line get drawn? Who decides who's allowed to say, I'm in too much pain to live?
Right.
And who's just saying it but doesn't really mean it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, like, I'll make it clear, like, I don't like the idea of, like, I'm not for suicide. Like, I hate the thought of people that get to a point where they have to off themselves or feel that's the only way to deal with it, get out of a situation. But sometimes, like, a lot of people can see like a person in hospice that only has 6 weeks to live, and those 6 weeks are like going to be the most painful, torturous.
Yeah.
There's no quality left to their life. They're just going to be drugged up and whatever.
Like a full on like stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, like there's just no way out of it, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, like why not? If they want to die, I mean, there's no life left in them really anyways, right? Like quality of life, right? Like, and it's not like it's ever going to get better.
No.
But who are these people that don't understand mental health issues to say that it's not the same? Like, you're going to be in torture. Like, there's the one in particular, personality disorders. They say it's an untreatable disorder.
Yeah.
It's a very painful disorder. Mm-hmm. Like, you live in torture your entire life.
Yes.
Just this dark, awful place. And medication doesn't work. Therapy doesn't work. They found that like things like group therapy seem to help because you see other people that are, but a lot of psychiatrists and doctors will say you have to learn to live with the pain.
Yeah.
Because there's really nothing you can do with that. That's even if the doctor admits there's something like personality disorder, because a lot of them are like, that doesn't exist. But
yeah,
put that aside. So why are we to say to this person that can't be treated, that lives in pain every day?
Yes.
If they decide, listen, this life is not, I got a too shitty of a hand of cards.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't want my family members finding me hanging from the rafters at home. Right. Which now I've traumatized my family, finding my body, to I'm going to go to the doctor's office and do this right.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And like, I want to be very, very clear as well. This is probably the wrong words, but I don't support suicide. Okay. I do not agree with suicide. I do believe that there are ways to, overcome that want to commit suicide.
Are you talking just with mental health issues or everything?
I'm really against taking your own life. I am that. But at the same time, I can empathize. I really can empathize with getting to that point where, as you said, like the stage 4 cancer, like you got just a couple of weeks left to go. You're in pain. Everybody around you is in pain because they see how much pain you're in, and you want to let go. And I can make the comparison to mental health as well. I've struggled with mental health. I have thought about suicide numerous times. I have made the plans. I have gone through all that. But ultimately, clearly I'm here. I decided that's not the solution for me, right? And I would really hope that, people wouldn't see that as a solution, but at the same time, I'm not about to condemn somebody that has, or has either gone through with it or has attempted to.
But you
right?
said the perfect thing. You decided.
Exactly.
You decided.
Yes.
Nobody decided that for you.
No. And, this debate coming up with the medically assisted death, I guess, medically assisted suicide. That's what we all know it as, but, everybody doesn't like that because it's too harsh. Shut up.
Right.
Quit being pansies. Let's talk about things as what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the Canadian government's debating whether or not mental health issues should be a factor in this.
Mm-hmm.
That there tells me that the Canadian government does not see mental health issues as a medical issue.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, stage 4 cancer, you're about to go. Sure. Let's do the whole medically assisted thing. But then you have someone who's been dealing with mental health issues all their life. They've been in pain. They're going through the basic same pain that, someone who is physically ill, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes their mental illness does cause physical as well.
Usually does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they need out. They've tried everything that they can possibly think of. Doctors have tried to help them. They've seen multiple doctors, and stuff like this. But the government's saying, no, that's fine. We're going to fix your head. No, stop. Okay. This is what makes me mad, right? I've dealt with mental health issues. I was diagnosed with PTSD after 2 tours in Afghanistan. Okay. I've gone through some shit times. But they keep talking. The government and, a lot of the organizations talk big on, oh, no, we recognize and we understand mental illness. But then they're willing or not willing to put it on the same docket as, someone with cancer for medically assisted suicide. Right? That there tells me they do not actually make the connection between mental health and medical issues.
No. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's in the DM whatever freaking book for medical shit, as an illness. The same with addiction, same with all that shit that they say it,
yeah,
but they still don't actually believe it.
Right.
Right. And you can't, I always through counseling and stuff with families, I'll have it both ways where, I'll have a sick person with a mental illness come to me and say, how do I make the people in my life, my parents, my wife, my husband, my kids, whoever, how do I help them to understand what I'm going through?
Yes.
And I simply say, you can't.
No.
They will never understand what you're going through. It's like the whole thing, like with sympathy and empathy. Sympathy, I can't know what you're going through, but I can be like, wow, that must be really hard.
Yeah.
It's like you talk about your PTSD from going to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I can be like, man, yeah, that must be really, really hard. I can give you sympathy, but I can't give you empathy.
No.
Empathy is when you've been in that person's shoes.
Yeah.
So if you get together with another military
or something
person,
or something close to it,
or even another brother that you talk to regularly who's there with you and suffered through the same things and had the same things, you guys can empathize with each other.
Yes.
Right. So we can have all the sympathy in the world, and make these announcements that, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and, we make all these changes, which is necessary and good. But the problem is the people doing it. And again, I'm not saying there's not anybody on those boards that hasn't suffered from mental illness or don't, but a lot of them, majority of them, they can only sympathize. They can't empathize with somebody. They don't really understand. They link depression, like mental, mental health depression, MDD, right? Major depressive disorder, with somebody who gets sad because they get divorced and lose their home.
Yeah.
Right? They say that's the same. It's not the fucking same. Right? Sadness is sadness. Depression is like crushing.
Yes.
It's fucking crushing. Right? You are exhausted 24/7. Like, I've had people, again, on the other side, when I have a parent come to me about a child that they have that's suffering from mental health, and they're like, how do I connect with them? How do I understand what they're going through? And I say, you never will. You can't understand what your child is going through because you've never fucking been through it.
Yeah.
So stop.
Yeah.
Stop trying and just listen.
Yeah.
Listen to what
just be there for them.
Just be there, but just listen, because I said, listen, you want to know what depression is like? The closest I can do is, I'll tell you this. Don't sleep for a week. Like literally, don't shut your eyes. Don't sleep for a week. And then I want you to strap a 200-pound vest on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I want you to wear the tightest shit you can think of, like, a tight thing around your neck so it's harder to breathe and all that stuff. And then I want you to go about your normal day-to-day life, work, home, kids, all this shit, and try to manage.
Yeah.
And do something to make all your joints hurt and, all this shit. And then you'll get a taste of what it is to actually live with fucking depression.
Yeah.
And try to function.
Yeah.
As so many people with depression. And then you wonder why, because their society understands. Well, what do they understand? So anybody can take 90 days off of work for a short-term leave.
Yeah.
Okay, 90 days doesn't fix depression.
No.
They still have to function within that office building to produce.
Yeah.
But they fucking can't. They just can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? And our society doesn't understand to the point or have empathy, sympathy to the point to say, no, we really need to restructure and think for this person around what we can do with them.
Yeah.
That they can actually do.
Yeah. No, and it is a difficult subject to talk about. I've had many people in my life, quite a few people that I've known, take their own life. Matter of fact, the last time we did this episode, talking about suicide, I literally got the call the night before saying that one of my cousins had gone and, committed suicide. And what was it, 15 minutes before we started filming this one, I get a message from one of my military brothers that a person that we knew in the military had decided to end it for themselves.
Right.
I don't know if we're going to continue talking about these episodes because I'm losing too many friends.
Yeah.
But, I really wish we could get more people that understood, to work on making these laws, trying to figure out what to do. Once again, I don't agree with suicide. I don't agree with suicide, but I can understand why people would want to. I would hope and I'd pray that those that are wanting to would actually reach out, would actually try to get some more help. I'll give you a great example, because sometimes the help that you think is supposed to be there isn't there. All right. When I came back from Afghanistan and I realized something wasn't right, my wife definitely helped me understand that something wasn't right. You've met her, and if something's not right, she's going to let you know right away. Well, yes, she did.
Yeah.
She let me know that something was up and that I better go talk to somebody. So, yes, dear, I'll go and talk to somebody. Well, I've been talking to people for a while, and I went through a couple different doctors. A couple of my brothers from the military, they've talked to a couple of doctors, and I had a lot of good success with the one doctor. They were able to help get me out of my shell, help me understand different things, and put things in the right place to help me sort out some things. I had my one brother that went to the exact same doctor, and he was absolutely useless for me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then I've gone to other doctors, which were absolutely fucking useless.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I went and I spent time up at Homewood in Guelph, right? I did their program, a fantastic program. But even while I was on that program, there were people that it was their third kick at the cat at that program, right? Everybody's recovery is going to be different. Yes. Everybody's situation that got him there is going to be different.
Yep.
You know, you can have two people, you and I can go through the exact same thing from birth to death, and we are going to actually live different lives. You know, we are going to experience things differently. Something that I might find stressful, it's not going to phase you.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you find stressful is not going to phase me.
Right.
Right. It's not a matter, you know, like you keep hearing people go and talk, you know, like within the military, you know, oh, well, you know, like I was around all of the same dead bodies and I was around, you know, this situation and this situation, just like you were, but I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yep.
Okay. I was totally fine. But then that person goes home, gets in a car accident, and now they don't want to drive anymore.
That's what I was just going to say. Exactly. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
I've been in like fucking 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Get over it. Yeah.
Everybody's experience is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's experience is different. And how everybody deals with it is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I, as I said, I don't want to see people, you know, think that suicide is the only solution.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. I understand that, you know, having a mental health issue for, you know, however long, right? And wanting to end it all, you know, I understand how that can very well be just the same as going through, you know, some debilitating disease.
It is.
You know,
it's a very debilitating.
It is. Exactly. It is a debilitating disease, you know. So I can understand. I would hope and I'd pray that everybody tries to give that one extra shot, right? Because I was ready to give it up after I dealt with the first couple doctors that I dealt with. But then, as I said, I found that one that just had me go, you know, just changed my mind.
It's individualized.
Exactly.
It's not like a group thing, you know. I have that where I'll have clients, like a potential client call, and they're like, oh, you know, I want to do CBT counseling, right? And because I've heard such amazing things, and it's always telling people, like, just because it works for this group of people, don't expect it to work for you. Like, you have to be open to trying. If one doctor's not working or one counselor's not working, move on.
Yeah.
Try to find somebody that you click with, somebody that makes sense of you. Because with suicide mental health, the big things that I always look at is, one, don't try to put logic to it.
No.
Because it's not logical to people. There's no, like, it's a hard thing to say, I get it. Yeah, good for that guy, that girl for doing that. You know, that was logical in their circumstances to do that.
Yeah.
You are never going to do that.
No.
Right? Because especially if you're a person that's never even contemplated suicide, you have no fucking understanding. So stop trying to put logic to it. And if you're going through it, the same thing. It's important that you stop trying to justify, to put logic to it, to try to understand it. Yeah. Right? Understand it's an illness. There's something broken, right, that you have to try to figure out.
Yes.
And hopefully, like you say, they put the effort in and they work through it.
Yeah.
Right? Number two, a big part of it to me is we need to, as a society, we talk about, like, you know, how everybody looks at it. We need to stop. We need to take the bad taste of it, the darkness out of it.
Yeah. Right?
Suicide is a bad word. And part of that is government and the medical professional. And part of it is because the majority of us are, you know, raised with Christian ideology, where it's a sin.
Yeah.
Right. If you take your life, you burn in hell, because I'm sure all loving God, if you are in so much pain in this earth, and you decide to take your life, is just going to fucking cast you off to burn. Yeah. Yeah. You son of a bitch. You killed yourself because you're in torture, and now I'm going to torture you for eternity. Right. Yeah. So, but that's how that we've come to see suicide as such a dirty, just like dark, just like almost like murder. It's almost looked at like murder, because that's the other problem. Is when somebody commits suicide, especially a younger person, where everybody is always looking to point fingers. They're looking for blame. Yes. Whose fault is it that this person did this to themselves, killed themselves? Because it has to be somebody's fault. Because it's not logical that somebody would just off themselves.
No.
It's not logical. It must have been because they were being bullied online, or because, their parents abused them, or because this or because that. So it's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. The truth of it is like you say, an individual can go through something and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But one out of however many thousand go through that and they're not fine and they opt to go out. It's still not somebody's fault. You can't put it on somebody else, somebody's death.
No.
That they decided to do themselves. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Right? I can, if you came to me and said, I'm going to commit suicide. Here's my plan. This is what I'm going to do. And I say, that's not how you do it. I'm going to tell you how to fucking do it.
Yeah.
This is what you do. And I give you the information. And I even give you the tool. I say, here, use this. It works the best.
Yeah.
Right? And then I walk away. And you do what I said to do and you kill yourself. I still didn't kill you.
No.
I'm an asshole.
Absolutely.
I'm a prick. I deserve some horrible things probably to come my way in life.
Yeah.
But I still didn't do it. You still made that decision.
Yes.
Right? But everybody, especially when it comes to younger people, are looking for the blame. Whose fault is this? Who caused this? It's like those kids that go into schools and do school shootings.
Yeah.
Right? And we never get answers because they're killed or they kill themselves. So we never really, even when they still live, we never really get answers. At least the answers we're not happy with.
Yeah.
Or don't make logical sense to us.
No.
Because there's no fucking logic.
No.
Stop looking for it, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's logic, but it's their logic.
It's right. But it's not it's not logical. It's not logical for any reason to walk into a school and shoot a bunch of people.
No.
Right? So, but everybody's like, instead of looking at the kid, they look at, look at the parents, how they were raised. Look at all these signs and things. They were on the internet every night looking at all this stuff. And, look, the dad had guns. Oh, this, oh, that. Oh, it was a recipe for this.
Yeah.
No, it's fucking not a recipe, because there's 10 million or 20 million other kids in the exact same situation that would never go to a school.
Yeah.
There's something with that kid that's not logical.
And not only that, but there's some kids that are probably in a far worse situation. If you want to blame it on whatever the situation was that kid was in,
right?
They're probably in a far worse situation, but they don't do anything.
No. And now you go after the parents.
Yeah.
And you say, your kid did this. It's your fault because this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Or like when a kid offs themselves, like, like in my profession, I've worked with really rough teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, a very difficult point in life, especially when you have mental health issues.
Yeah.
Or you come from a very bad background that you still haven't been able to work through, right?
Yeah.
If a kid opted suicide, there was always, the blame was put on somebody.
Yeah.
It became a finger pointing thing. Like, it's the foster parents or the house's fault because they didn't do this or that, or they allowed the kid to do this or that.
Yeah.
Or no, it's the parents' fault. Or no, it's the CAS's fault. Or no, somebody had to be.
Yeah.
Somebody has to go down for this.
Yeah.
Somebody murdered that fucking kid.
Yeah.
No, it's really sad. It's a horrible, awful thing. But that child made the decision for themselves.
Yeah.
They made that decision.
Yep.
Right? It's not about what we missed. I mean, learn from it.
Yes.
Be like in your head. When I talked with him, he said this, and maybe that was the clue I should have picked out on.
Yeah.
But don't blame yourself. Just know that moving forward. The
Exactly.
next kid, I'm not letting that go.
Yeah. Well, and that's the big thing. We talked about this. Wow, that was a big stutter there. But anyways, we talked about this earlier before we started taping, and you were mentioning to me about your previous employer, right? That was always looking for that blame, right? And it seems to be fairly common throughout a lot of different organizations. There is nobody to blame, right? If I went and said, yeah, Nate, if I can, maybe I'll just go end myself today, but I've gone and said this a few times, right? And you're like, yeah, it's a fucking joke. He's fucking around, whatever the case may be, but then the next day I wake up dead, right? Or I don't wake up dead. You wake up and I'm dead, and stuff like this. Well, the signs were there, but you didn't see them as signs, right? And that's stuff that you have to learn from. You can't harbor the blame, definitely analyze what happened, who interacted with them, what went on here, what went on there, so you can have a better understanding. You'll never have a full understanding of what actually made them decide to do this, right? We brought up the point of Robin Williams. Everybody was blown away that Robin Williams went and killed himself.
Except for those closest to him.
Yeah, they weren't overly surprised, but here it is. Everybody's like, wow, I can't believe it. He was always happy and stuff like this. And then find out, no, he went through great bouts of depression. I was blown away. I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. Like, I absolutely loved Robin Williams. I thought he was fantastic, and had I had a chance to talk to him, I would have, and, had I known, I would have said something to him.
Right.
But that's the thing. Sometimes you just don't know. People are going to put on a great face. There are many, many signs and that you can watch out for, but sometimes those signs just are not there.
Or you don't see them.
No.
Because we're human.
Exactly.
But we as humans have to have again, it goes back to the fact it's not logical.
Yeah.
But we as humans in our brains always want to make it logical.
Yes.
And if you can put it on a physical person and blame it on that's the reason they did this.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes logical.
Yeah.
Right? Now we've come out of that world that just doesn't exist because it's too dark to exist. And we put it out on somebody, just like a murderer.
Yeah.
Well, that person's dead because you shot them in the head.
Yeah.
Now we can all go to sleep at night, not worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. But, I don't know. Like I say, I hate the idea of somebody committing suicide. I mean, for whatever reason, other than the only time I'll ever look at it as I get it and I 100% support it is what you said earlier. If I have like stage 4 cancer or somebody I know does, and they're like, and the doctor says, listen, there is nothing we can do. You got about 3 months to maybe 4 months to live, and that's it. And that person's feeling pretty good, and they say, listen, I'm going to keep going until I don't feel good. And then I want to die because I don't want the last 4, 5, 6 weeks of my life just to be utter misery and pain, and illness, and being so stoned on, painkillers that I don't even know I'm alive anyways. And I don't want people that love me to remember me on my hospital bed like that.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered as me. And then I get it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, but I don't know. So the other article that I read this week, it was interesting because they both came out and I really looked and I had a hard time finding information because you had to read the rest of this article. I had to like subscribe to the Star, and I'm not subscribing to the Star. But basically this university in the US expelled a student, or so the student is alleging. So I should say this is alleged. Yeah. But basically she, from what I could figure out, she went to talk to a counselor on the campus, who alerted people, and the answer for the university was that they expelled this girl. Yeah. Because she was suicidal, and they said that because she wasn't able to self-regulate, they couldn't have her in the school. Now, people are like, self-regulate, what the fuck? Yes, that is a thing. You can expel people if they're not able to, like a school, you can fire people if they're not able to self-regulate. That is perfectly legal. Yeah. But it was written for when there's a person who every time they get in an argument with a coworker or a co-student or a teacher, just punch them in the mouth. Yeah. They can't self-regulate. They're violent. Yeah. Right? I mean, yes, you can expel them, you can fire them, you can get rid of them. That's the self-regulation thing. Yes. Right? Or every time we have a disagreement, I'm going to break everything in the room. Mm-hmm. That's self-regulation that you don't have. And you're going to get fired, you're going to get expelled, thrown out of whatever you're in. Yes. So they try to use that clause, apparently, the university, to say this girl can't self-regulate, blah, blah, blah. So they expelled her. So now, rightfully so and good, the girl's coming back to fight them on it. Yeah. The fact that they did that, which is good. If the alleged, that's actually the reason for it. We don't know 100%. Yeah. But again, it doesn't surprise me because the reason I see the university expelling her, because they don't want that blood on their hands, because it will become their fault. Yes. The university put too much pressure on these kids.
Yeah.
The university, doesn't have understanding, all this bullshit.
Yeah.
That's, is going to get thrown at that university.
Yeah.
They're going to get dragged through the mud. So if they can quietly just expel this girl and hopefully she won't say anything.
Yeah.
Right. Then
if she does continue to,
if she kills herself, well, she wasn't a student here.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing, because there's another way to look at it too, because obviously she's down, she's depressed. She's having the suicidal thoughts already. And then she gets kicked out of school because she's having suicidal thoughts. I don't know. I'd call school, like you just added more to that shit,
But after she's dead, they can come up with whatever they want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, she was fine here all the time.
Yeah. No.
Like,
and
we did it over grades
and that's what bothers me too, because once again, they're looking at it as people are going to place blame. Right. And we have seen it.
Because they will.
We have seen it. People will place blame on different people. Well, this person died because, like in the instance of the school, they were under too much pressure from the school to do schoolwork. Well, no, that's kind of what you signed up to go to school for, is to do all the schoolwork. Yes, shit is trying and stuff like this. But there are ways to compensate. There are ways to do different things. There's always options out there. And mental health and having options to deal with mental health, we need to have that. Because if you can help someone who is going through a mental health crisis, then you still have a person that's, able to continue on with school, able to continue on with work. It might not be in the exact capacity that you originally hired them for, but they might be able to excel in other areas that will actually be very beneficial if you're a company to your company, just by changing some things up, right? Like changing out start times or making flex hours, right? Still putting in your 8 hours a day, right? But you're coming in at this time here and there. There's a lot of different options, a lot of ways to make things happen. I know last January, okay, the way my school had gone and set everything up to do the different courses that I needed in order to graduate this program I'm in, it worked out that I was going to need to take 3 of these university courses all at the same time. And I was like, okay, sounds good. I could do this. It's 3 courses.
Yeah.
Well,
being the genius you are, and
yeah. So I decided, I could do these 3 courses, like I'm at home all the time anyways. That's why, I am at home, is so I can be at school.
Right.
But for those that don't know me, my reading ability, I can read quite well. I'm just not fast at reading. The Cat in the Hat is a novel for me.
Right.
It really is.
It's a 2 or 3 night read.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm there.
And, don't get me Pride and Prejudice or, one of those other big books there.
What's
it's
the
never
whale
getting
book? The whale book?
The whale book?
The really famous.
Oh, The Old Man in the Sea?
No.
Oh, Moby Dick.
Moby Dick, yes.
Yeah.
That's like 7,000 pages long.
Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a book that will never get read. But, of course, doing university courses, there's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
Well, I did not have the time. I didn't. And there was a lot of things going on. And actually, even before I started those 3, I quickly got an email from the school. And the school said, listen, do you realize that you just signed up for 3 university courses? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you do realize this is a lot of work. We don't recommend people going above 2.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you're not offering it at any other time, so I kind of got to do it now.
Right.
And they're like, okay, well, we would encourage you to take this when we next offer one of the courses, but that's on you if you want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Well, sure as shit, it was a problem.
Right.
Fucking doing 3 university courses at the same time with a person that reads The Cat in the Hat as a novel. That's a ton of work.
It's a big bite.
And I had a lot of other stuff going on at that time as well. A lot of stuff in my personal life going on, and it was getting overwhelming. Okay. I already suffer from depression and anxiety, and this just amplified everything. And then for about a week straight, I just sat down and did nothing. I went into like basically a vegetative coma, and I'm just like, no, and then I basically had to get shooken out of it.
Right.
And at the time, COVID just hit as well. So my one teacher went and said, listen, if everybody needs a couple extra days to do this one assignment, no problem. Okay. Take that extra time. I know everybody's adjusting to things. So she was already looking out for people's mental health. Right there.
Which
by
is
saying,
awesome.
give yourself another couple days. I'm not going to dock you marks for handing this in late.
Mm-hmm.
Well, me being who I am, right, I'm still trying to get it in on time because I'm a deadline person. If I have a deadline, this is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point in time, I realized I can't make it. I'm not going to do it. And normally what I would do is I would go and I give information, and say, listen, I am going to take you up on your offer, and I'm going to take those couple extra days. Thank you very much. I didn't do that, and that bothered me. And then when I turned in my stuff a couple days later, I went and I sent an email saying, listen, here it is. My apologies for not letting you know beforehand that it was going to be turned in. And I'm explaining, look, I've been going through some mental health issues over the last little bit, but things are getting back on track. I'm doing pretty good. This teacher quickly emailed me back and said, mental health issues? We need to talk now. And I'm like, okay. So I called her up and we talked, and she's like, what's going on? What's happening? And I explained everything that was on the go. And she explained to me, listen, with this assignment coming in, I'm going to work with you to make sure that you get 100% on this assignment. And that will put you at a passing grade. And after that, drop the course. Like, just stop doing work. Concentrate on your other two courses, And it was that kind of a thing, the whole realization that they're not really worried about the mark you got. It's did you pass the course?
Right.
Yeah. Stuff like that. So she was extremely understanding, and she's like, if you want to continue doing the work, that's up to you. And I'm like, well, I really do, because that's me. That's who I am.
That's how you're built.
Yeah. I want to finish shit.
Yeah.
And, she was cool with that, but she's like, listen, do not stress yourself out over this. I don't need you, getting yourself worked up because you think you need to do this. You don't. You already have it. And
yeah. And I don't know this lady,
yeah.
Obviously, but my guess would be she probably suffers from mental illness.
Or has
be that understanding.
Yeah.
Or she's had like a child or something that's very close and seen them go through that suffering.
Yeah.
Right? Because it takes a lot to have that understanding.
It does.
Right?
It does.
Be able to do that. Because most profs would be like, well, do the best you can, man. I don't know. Like, fuck,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. You pass, you don't. I guess if you don't pass, it's not the end of the world.
Oh, yeah.
You can retake the course,
Yeah.
Like, they try to kind of, again, sympathize.
Yes.
Right? So not empathize, but sympathize with you. So.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah,
well,
for sure.
And like, I had the one employer, right, where I was overseas a lot, and I'm by myself a lot overseas. So like this COVID thing, having to self-isolate at home, people, please stop your bitching. Okay. I've been doing it for years.
At least here you get bacon and alcohol.
Exactly. Here I am by myself over in the sandbox, for 6 months at a time. Let me tell you, you start talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're the only person to talk to,
mm-hmm.
And then the depression kicks in and stuff like this. And things are going to go absolutely crazy for you. And there was a moment while I was over there, the one trip where I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm ready to walk out to the middle of the desert and hope I get bit by a bunch of camel spiders,
right.
However it's going to be. Luckily I had enough sense for myself, right, to reach out and try to get some help. And I did,
Mm-hmm.
Long story on that, and I won't even get into it. But I reached out for help. I had to get the help, and I knew it. I did make mention of this kind of stuff, I believe after the trip to the boss, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, we get it, yeah. And then it was just whatever, moving on.
Yeah.
And then they're asking me, okay, so when can you head back? Are you people fucking stupid?
Yeah.
I just told you I'm being isolated for 6 months at a time by myself, away from everyone. I really have no one to talk to. And you want me to go back right away?
Yeah.
After I've told you,
they don't get it.
No.
It's your job. You're getting paid well.
Yeah.
What's your problem?
Yeah. There's your incentive to keep going.
Look how much we're paying you to do this. Like, suck it up there, buttercup.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
That's the attitude, because again, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a boss that, like I say, really, really has suffered,
yes,
and really can empathize, you're like, okay, Greg, I'm worried about you.
Yeah.
Right? Let's take 3-month leave.
Yeah.
And then let's take a look.
Yeah.
When you're done.
Yeah.
Like where you're at mentally. Maybe it's going to be, you're going to be here for a year.
Yeah.
In-house.
Yeah.
And getting your shit back together and figuring out a route to get treatment and all this shit. And then we'll worry about sending you back.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. There's so much that people can do and people can help out with. But you have to have someone who's understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have someone that's understanding. And I think that's where a lot of people that are contemplating suicide get to right before they go. They feel that nobody is out there to listen. And nobody else has gone through what they've gone through.
Right. You're very alone.
Which is true to a extent.
Yeah.
Or to a point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nobody's lived your exact life. Nobody's felt everything that you felt. But there are people that can understand, can sympathize, and some empathize with what it is that you've gone through, and can kind of put themselves in your shoes. There are people out there that can talk to this and are able to talk to you, right?
But I think you said it perfect.
Yeah.
I think you don't have to understand something to be understanding.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have to, again, logical. You don't have to logically be able to understand what in your head, what's going on.
No.
To be understanding of that person.
Yes.
Right? You just take it at face value.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to you and says, I'm really thinking about ending it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about you talking to that person like, okay, well, I need to understand why you feel like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not about you, asshole.
No.
You don't have to understand.
Yeah.
But you can have understanding and say, okay, well, talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about where you're at feeling wise. I don't know why I want to do it. Okay, that's not important.
Yeah.
That's not important right now, but tell me how you're feeling. Tell me what you're going through. And I would really recommend, I took a course a couple times because I have to once in a while do updates on it. Amazing course. And I don't know why more people don't do this, because they really should. I'm telling you, it's such an amazing course. And there's a few different companies that do it, but it's suicide first aid.
Yes.
So they don't call it a suicide prevention course, because their whole thing is, we're not going to teach you how to stop a person from being suicidal or how to treat them, because that's for the big boys.
Yes.
Or the big girls, right?
Yeah.
And what we're going to do, though, is just like with first aid CPR, if you show up where somebody is dying, you're going to help them live until the professionals can get involved.
Yes.
And that's what this course teaches you, is if somebody comes to you who is suicidal, how to first aid them, how to keep them alive until the professionals get their hands on them.
Yeah.
Right? And the courses are fucking amazing. Like the
Yes.
one I did anyways. I'll put that with the numbers, because I
Yeah.
really highly recommend it. It's so important for people to understand, because normally you get two reactions when somebody comes to a person and talks about suicide.
Yeah.
One, the person panics.
Yep.
Right? Because it's a panic moment. It's like, holy fuck, this person's life is in my hands right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's no different than if somebody comes to you bleeding out from a gunshot wound and
Yeah.
you're not used to that shit. You're not a doctor.
No.
You're like, holy fuck, what do I do? Right?
Yeah.
And the other thing, which is natural, is what do people do when they're scared in a situation? They do whatever it takes to get the fuck out of there as fast as fucking possible, right?
Yeah.
So somebody will come to them talking about suicide, and their human reaction. I mean, people say they're assholes for doing it, but it's just a natural human reaction. Oh, you're being silly.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. Shut up, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to fucking handle it.
Yeah.
And they just want to get the hell out of there and go home and forget about it, right? So these suicide first aid courses, 100% recommend people. Anybody can do them. You don't have to be a professional.
No.
Anybody can do them. It's like a 2-day course. It is fascinating. They teach you how to talk to somebody who's suicidal. They teach you how to work with somebody who's keep them alive until the professionals can get a hold of them. So,
yeah. Well, and I want to kind of go back to, people that need to talk, trying to find someone who they can talk to. Okay. And I understand the one way of thinking that people who are suicidal or are having issues might be thinking. There's nobody to talk to because they don't understand. They don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was first having problems, when I came back from, my tours over in Afghanistan, I came back and my wife's like, well, just talk to me. And I'm like, why? Why should I fucking talk to you? You don't fucking get it. Oh, well, I was in the military too. Yeah, you were in the military, but you weren't fucking there. You don't fucking know, And it's not anything bad against that person who wasn't there. But you as a person who lived it, you want to find someone who can understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of the problems that I had with the first few doctors that I went to talk to, they had no fucking clue. They were civvy doctors. They really were civilian doctors with a medical or a military rank is what it ended up being. And these people were fucking useless. Mm-hmm. They were absolutely useless. And then I finally got sent to a straight out civilian doctor. And this was after I got the one diagnosis. And I walked in to go and see him. I was done. I was done talking to doctors. I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to go old school and go and drink and get high and all this good shit until I don't really fucking care about what's going on. By the way, folks, not a way to deal with shit. Mm-hmm. Okay. But I had the one military doctor say, listen, do me a favor, go to 3 sessions with this person. That's it. If after that you don't want to see that person again, I won't make you go. Right? Probably didn't tell me that there's going to be something else lined up, but I went to go and see this person, and the doc goes and says, oh, hey, how's it going? What can I do to help you out today? And I'm like, well, it all depends if you're going to fucking listen or not. And that doc shot back in his seat going, oh, fuck, I got a live one here.
That's right. Yeah,
what the fuck's going on? And he's like, okay, what's happening? And I went and explained, this is what's going on. This is what's happening here. This is where these other doctors fucking got it wrong. They didn't fucking listen. They made half the shit up, and stuff like this. And he's like, okay, I get that. While I have no clue what goes on over in a war zone, I have no clue whatsoever. I will tell you that straight up. But I'm going to listen to you. And when it comes time for me to fill out my reports, I will make my report. And before I submit it, you and I are going to read it together. And if there's something that's not right in there, we're going to get it fixed. We're going to go and do it until I understand exactly what's going on. And I'm like, okay, that sounds fair. And then I went and brought him a bunch of videos that I had taken while I was in Afghanistan and said, okay, you want to know what I went through? Here, let's have a look at some shit. And now you can kind of get into my headspace a little bit, and that honestly really, really helped for me.
Yep. Somebody with the ability to just shut up and listen.
Exactly. And folks, just because you can't find someone who's gone through exactly what you went through, find that person that will listen. Okay. Because honestly, that's what you need. You need to find someone who is going to listen to you. They might not understand what the fuck you've gone through, but they will be there to listen, let you unload, and it definitely helps with starting the healing process.
For sure. And I think it's just important to mention the other way around. If somebody comes to you,
Yeah.
they have chosen you for a reason. They, it's so hard for a person to come out and say it.
Yes.
So if somebody approaches you and says it, they've chosen you they trust you for some reason. They are looking at you, not for answers,
No.
not for you to heal them, not for you to take their pain away. They're looking at you to listen.
Yep.
99.9% of the time.
Yes.
Right? Unless it's an asshole husband or boyfriend, girlfriend saying, oh, because of you, I'm going to kill myself. Well, that's a different thing. But
yeah,
like I'm saying, if a friend or a family member or somebody comes to you and says, man, things are just too tough.
Yeah.
And, sit the fuck down and don't panic.
No.
Don't try to fix it. Fucking don't try to fix it. You're not going to fix it.
No.
Just listen. Listen to them. Try to get them to commit to you that they're not going to off themselves until such a time like they get this type of help or this happens. Yes. If you can do that, that's the most you can do.
Yes. And as we said before, I really hope people would stop with the laying the blame. Okay? Stop laying blame on, oh, well, it's your fault for not listening to this person, which is why they off themselves. Okay? Nobody's to blame. Absolutely nobody is to blame. Mm-hmm. Look at what happened. Do the whole fucking hindsight's 2020, right? Oh shit, they did say this to me the one time. That makes sense now. Cool. Listen to that. And remember it for the next time somebody comes to you and says something along those lines, and just be like, okay. And here's the big thing. If you think somebody is going to commit suicide or is planning to commit suicide, come straight out and ask them.
Yes.
Don't beat around the bush.
Fuck no.
Ask them straight out. Like if I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, I'm just kind of done with this whole place and, whatever. Maybe I'll just go home and not wake up in the morning, As much as it might sound like a joke, come straight out. Are you contemplating suicide?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100%.
Because
most important thing.
There's a number of different reasons for it. It does go to show that person that, wait a second, you are listening right now. You are concerned, right? And chances are that person's going to open up to you and be like, no, actually, I'm not thinking about it. Or actually, yeah, I wasn't actually joking. Things are rough. Cool. Let's sit down, have a coffee and talk about this.
Or they just don't know how to say it.
Exactly.
So you say it for them.
Yeah.
Hey, are you thinking about killing yourself right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
No.
I mean, me and you just want to go to Mars.
Yes, exactly.
And
we definitely do.
Elon Musk doesn't seem to be taking us seriously.
No. Come on, Elon. Fucking pay attention here. We will be the perfect specimen for the average Joe study. Okay.
If we can survive the trip, anybody can survive the trip.
Absolutely. But folks, please keep an eye on your friends. Keep an eye on your loved ones. Hell, keep an eye on those strangers. Mm-hmm. All right. And folks, if you are contemplating suicide, please reach out to somebody, contact somebody. All right. We have the 2 national hotlines here. The Canadian Suicide Prevention Service at 833-456-4566. And down in the States there, you got your National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Okay, those numbers have been scrolling across this podcast at the bottom if you're watching it on YouTube. And it's all down in the comment section below. And I believe Nate's got a whole bunch of other numbers and websites and places for people to contact. Okay. Please reach out, talk to somebody. Okay. Talk to your loved ones. Find that person that's going to listen. And if you find people aren't listening, keep looking until you find someone who does. Okay. It's all up to you. It really is. I don't want to see anybody end themselves. I really don't. I don't like that thought. And I just want people to get better. I really do. So, folks, till next time, please take care of yourself and each other, just like Jerry Springer used to say. Okay. But reach out to people. We'll talk to y'all later.
Later.
I got no bones to pick with you.